All right, what's up guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be continuing on with the competitor series. We're going to be going over a yellow deck today in yellow Enel. We've already gone over purple Luffy, red Shanks, Blackbeard, and blue Doffy in this competitor series. I will link those in the comment section below, but we've already gone over those. Today we're going to go over Enel, and tomorrow I have Bonnie planned. Okay, green, Jory, Bonnie. So that way we have, one leader from each color represented in this competitor series. Okay, so with that in mind, let's go ahead and dive into it. Of course, this is meant to be a more meta-focused, meta-driven video, like the other four are, focused more on the players who want to take their game to the next level or understand how to play a deck they might want to get into and they haven't tried yet. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get into it. This will be the same formatting as the other four videos I've done in this same competitor series, where we go over the deck list first, then we hop over and do 5 games on the sim, and we finish off by checking out the deck list again and finalizing our thoughts on it, and we'll wrap it up in that way. Okay, guys? I'll have everything time-stamped in the general description, and I'll have all relevant deck lists and links down in the comment section below. All right? Now, as usual, guys, if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put them in the comment section below, or hop on the VV Theory Discord. The link is in the channel description. Now, let's do this, guys. Let's get into it. I think a lot of people were concerned about Enel going into OP09 because of Blackbeard. And I actually think that in that matchup against Blackbeard, I think Enel has a better chance against Blackbeard than something like Black-Yellow Luffy might. Because Black-Yellow Luffy needs to do a lot of recursion with Gecko Moria on play effects. And if they cannot do that, it becomes very difficult, not impossible, but very difficult to win the game at that point. Because they're, how do I say it? The way that Gecko brings back the double 2-cost characters from the trash, allowing the leader to get back to 9,000 power over and over and over again, that is a major part of how that deck is strong. It's a major factor in what makes that deck so powerful. So if that gets shut off, then they're really struggling. Whereas with Enel, yes, they can turn off our leader effect literally with their 10 cost 12k for the turn, where we can't use it to gain the free life. But I think we can still play around that to a decent degree, and I'll try to show that off in today's video, because we do have some games against we do have a game against Blackbeard in today's videos, or in today's video. So let's go ahead and break down the list, and we'll talk more about it. So here's the leader. Make sure you pause and read this, guys. Know what this leader effect does if you're trying to get into a deck like this, or even if you're trying to learn how to beat a deck like this. You have to understand. Step 1 is understanding how the leader effect works. It is technical, and it's very important to know. Now, it's running. Now, the list I'm using today, I don't think I made this list. I think I made a few adjustments here and there, but this was a list from the East that I used, and I might have made 1 or 2 adjustments, but maybe not. So here we go, guys. 4 of every single card except beige. 2 beige, and then, hear me out, 4 Flampe, Shirahoshi, Katakuri, here's the 2 of beige, and then 4 of everything else: Yamato, Enel, Frankie, the 5-cost Luffy, Rocket Boots Luffy, Ace, the 10 cost ace. I guess I should specify, because the 5 cost ace is also very good, but not so much in this meta. We'll talk about that in a minute, because this card is very strong in the meta. The new I shouldn't say the old, the other option, the 5 cost 7k ace, is no longer as strong in the meta. But then 4 Jory Bonnie, 4 Raigo, 4 of this event. I don't think it's called that in the English version. I think it's called Did Someone Say Kami, or I am a Kami, and maybe it means the same thing, whatever. And then 4 of this event. So the first thing I want to talk about before we go any further is only 2 beige. This is for a specific reason, I think. People are getting better and better and better at playing around the entire, Enel leader effect that allows them to win on basically a beige trigger if they get lucky. Now, You're the One Who Should Disappear is still just that good, because this is a 0-cost 3k. It lets you filter out some of the bricks you have in your hand, turning them into 3ks, and it also has a trigger that actually gains you a life, which is very, very relevant into matchups like Blackbeard, because you might not be able to gain a life with your leader effects like normal. However, with You're the One Who Should Disappear, you actually can gain the life back. So when they go to stop you from gaining life with your characters like you normally would, You're the One Who Should Disappear actually allows us to gain a life in another way. A way that they can't really stop if it is in the trigger as our last life. So, with that in mind, You're the One Who Should Disappear and beige have been 4 of staples, I feel like, in Enel since the deck started doing well. but beige has gone down to a 2 of. And I actually feel like I understand why, and I think you guys will too as we see the deck in action and see how it's functioning now. Number one, Shirahoshi has gone up to a 4 of, okay? We'll talk about replacements in a minute, guys, because that is, of course, going to be something we have to talk about is potential replacements for cards people might not have access to that are too expensive. Because, guys, I think Shirahoshi's gone quite a bit up in price. Ace has been a little bit has been expensive. I'll have to bring that up over here on the side, guys, while we're talking about that, because we do need to do a breakdown and see how these cards are doing. Hang on one second, guys, while I bring this over. Okay. All right, so here this is. Let me make sure y'all can see this okay. Yeah, my head's in the way a little bit. Let me go like this. So real quick, let's go ahead and search these up real quick. So let me do a Portgas the Ace search first. This card is currently going for around $30 USD, guys, around $30 in the Western market. It dipped all the way down to $17, but it's starting to go back up in price, guys. It's around $26, $27, I'd say. So these are a little pricey. Nice, it has everything down here too. Guys, look at this. Shirahoshi is up to $18. We're going to talk about replacements in just a second. This card's pretty expensive. Nami's pretty well priced. I think this card's fine. Raigo and You're the One Who Should Disappear around $3, guys. It might be time to snag these like immediately if you don't already have these and you're trying to play Enel. Monkey D. Luffy is up to $8.20. We will talk about that as well in just a second, because I think the closest replacement is Nami, but there are a few issues with the way the new list is kind of built, and we'll go over that in just a moment. And then last but not least, okay, Katakuri is at $10. I would snag these guys. This is one of the greatest utility 2K counters you can get your hands on, or 2K counters. One of the greatest utility secret rares you can get your hands on. Not a 2K counter. I was looking at Flampe and I got a little bit sidetracked there. This is a 2K counter almost up to $5. I would snag these as well, guys. I do not foresee this card going down in price in the near future. Look, the lowest we've really seen it over the past 3 months has been $4. It's going for $4.75 right now. I would just snag these. I do not like the fact that a rare costs this much money, but it's from the EB01 set. So you have to be careful, pick and choose your battles wisely. This is not one of them. This 2K counter is essential to pretty much every yellow deck going forward. You don't have to run it in every yellow deck, but the fact that you can take a card from your life, which is life manipulation, and draw a card. So you're drawing a card from life, drawing a card from the deck, and it's a 2K counter late in the game. There's just very rare downsides to this card, and we're going to talk about some combos that are going to be able to happen within Enel with this character with cards like Raigo, where it's like, oh, I'm at 2 life. Well, if I want to use Raigo, or Kingdom Come is the actual name for it, if I want to use this card, I'm going to lose a life. Well, if that's the case, why don't I just draw 2 cards from that last life for 1 Dawn, and then with the other 6 Dawn, we'll use Kingdom Come, pop their character, and go about things that way. We'll talk about that more as we get into the actual gameplay, though. So really important stuff here. We'll look through a few more of these. This list is by no means cheap. Let me say that right now. It's not like a cheap deck. Enel has never been one of the cheaper decks in the format. It's always been on the more expensive side because, guys, it's running, what, 2 secret rares right now, and then lots and lots of extremely expensive, I want to say, yellow cards that are rares and SRs. It's just hard to explain. It's just always kind of been an expensive deck. So Flampe, I would just bite the bullet and snag this, guys. I would not try to build around like without this card. Shirahoshi is expensive, but if you just need a card here, you probably can just put in a 2-cost blocker of some sort. Viola is also EB01. Let me see something, guys. Let me see how this card is. It's at least a decent substitute, I think. Let me just look real quick. Viola. Let's see what this is going for. It's from EB01. $5, still kind of expensive, but it's probably your next best bet. Or even if you have to go super budget, literally just put in a 2-cost blocker like Charlotte Galette, and maybe even potentially, if you don't mind not putting it down on turn 1, like going second, maybe Charlotte Brûlée would be another one. But that was also a card that was kind of expensive for a while because it was in a starter deck. I will check that real quick as well for y'all. Let me see while we got this up. Okay, 10 cents, beautiful, absolutely snag these. Look, there's like 3 different listings. Don't buy the expensive one, just buy the cheapest one. All we need is the card for its effect. So that's one good option for the Shirahoshi if you absolutely need to do a replacement. There is no replacement for what Katakuri does. This is one of the best offensive and defensive switch cards you could ever possibly imagine. Offensively, you can push an 8-cost character into their life like a Gecko Moria. Defensively, you can play this out and push a card like Flampe into your life or Shirahoshi just to gain a life in that way and just to protect cards and things like that. Or if you have the setup where you have Frankie already on the board, you can attack in with it for the turn, play out the Katakuri to push it into life. It's going to come back into play if you're down to 1 or less life, and, you know, repeat the cycle in that way. This card is pretty much irreplaceable. I don't think it's replaceable for what Enel's trying to do. You can try it, but at the same time, I wouldn't. Beige is fine. You know, this is just as a 2 of. Yamato, this card I do not think is replaceable within the deck, but luckily, I don't want to say luckily, but more like fortunately, this card is not super expensive last time I checked. I think it's around the $5 mark. Let's check real quick. Yamato, actually not even, guys, $2.50 for this card. Let's just call it $2. Yeah, about $2, $3 for this card. I would snag this without any hesitation. Just get it immediately. This card is much needed. Now, Enel might be rising in price. Let me see something. The 7 cost Enel. It might not be. It's not. It's still under $1, guys. Like, this is it for the non-alt art stuff, obviously. It's like under $1. Snag these immediately, especially if you're trying to play Enel in OP09. This card plus this card. This is another EB01 card, but it's a common. These 2 cards are very, very strong in the current format. We talked about Frankie. Ace is a little expensive, but I don't know if this is replaceable, guys. I'm just trying to be honest, because it gains a life and it has Rush. Now, it is true. One thing is true, that if you're playing against Blackbeard, of course, this card's not really great. But at the same time, the card is very strong in general against every other deck. So I would try to get my hands on this card. If you can't get it, guys, maybe try to get some type of, let's see if there's like an 8 or a 9 or a 10 cost. We're already running that one. Let me check all the other 10 cost cards. That's weird. It didn't really come up the way I thought it would. Maybe try to snag like a Charlotte Linlin, but it's really just not the same thing, guys. I would really try to get this Portgosti Ace card. If you guys know a better option here for Portgosti Ace, not a better option necessarily, excuse me, but a more cost-efficient option here for the players who are trying to work around a budget, by all means, please put it in the comment section below. And same thing for any of these cards. If I missed a good example, please tell us down in the comment section below. Monkey D. Luffy is pretty expensive, around $8 to $9 a card now, I think we saw. Let me see. Let me just double check real quick. I'm pretty sure it was, let's see if it says down here. Oh, Gadatsu's probably another good option, but it's just not good into Blackbeard, and that's like your toughest matchup for the deck. So you do have to be careful with that. Let me go ahead and bring up, who did we just look up? We were trying to find, I already lost my track. Oh, Luffy. Let's try to find the 5 cost Luffy here. Actually, we'll just go back a few times and try to find it that way through one of these other searches, because there are so many cards named Luffy, it's actually kind of annoying. It's hard to find them when you're going through all these cards. Here it is, perfect. All right, at the very bottom here. So, Hiyori's gone down quite a bit in price as well. That's good to see. But this card's around $8, $8 to $9, guys. So, I would probably just snag the 5 cost Nami for now. But see, that one's expensive. That one's a little bit expensive too for an SR. But these cards are just so important for what you're doing. The best option currently, in my personal opinion, is the Luffy. This card right here. The trigger pops a 5 or less. That's perfect. Okay. Or a 4 or less. Not a 5 or less. A 4 or less. So that's going to help you into your Doffy matchups. And on top of that, it is an activate main. So that means you don't have to worry about it getting, hitting any snags against Blackbeard. You can just activate it. Very, very important card, actually, guys. Actually, a very, very important card. Now, some other cards to consider in the place of some of this stuff, just generally speaking. A really good 2-cost card to include is Onami. So maybe if you don't want to go with the Luffy or the normal, the 5-cost Nami, Onami here, the 2-cost is pretty decent. It's kind of in between them. It's not the same thing, but it is a decent card, a decent replacement card to fill in any gaps you might have. Because another thing you might want to consider is if you can't go Ace, another thing that I would really, really consider is going up extra trigger cards, even something like a Sanji. It's not the same thing, or a Kikinojo. Kikinojo can potentially gain you life. It's not the same thing as Ace, but if you are on a budget, these are excellent alternative options for the deck, talking about Kikinojo or Sanji. Okay, really good stuff there. Another 2K counter to consider, depending on how aggressive you want to go with the deck, would be something like Satori. So in other words, if you're not able to afford some of these really expensive cards like the Ace, where it starts changing the entire feel of how the deck is supposed to operate, you might want to go a more aggressive route with the Satoris, the Kikinojos, and the Sanjis, because that will still at least give you some chance against a deck like Blackbeard. Because, guys, right now, and I will say this right away, Enel plus this I Am Akami card, whatever it's called, I think these are like your best options at dealing with Blackbeard. Just straight up, I think they're that good at it, and I think you guys will see that when we get into the game. Because okay, you're just bashing in for 7 with Rush, and yeah, but what if they remove the card somehow? If they finally get rid of it, okay, we'll bring it back from the trash. The nice thing about this card is it has so much utility. You can play the card from your hand or your trash, but you go down to 1 life. So keep that in mind. You will go down to 1 life by using this effect, but the trigger's a draw 2 trash 1, and the fact that it even has a trigger is important for interactions with a card like this. Gadatsu is another card that's extremely good. Shirahoshi is a card that is extremely good. These are cards you need to consider for replacements if you don't have certain cards that you need in this list that are too expensive, especially cards like the Portgosti Ace. But if you're very serious about playing Enel, I would get your hands on this card as soon as possible. It really does. I think it does take the deck to the next level. Now, that's enough for the deck list. Again, guys, if I missed any really good replacement cards, by all means put them in the comment section below and help us out. But now we're going to go into some games. We got some games on the sim here, 5 of them. And the first matchup is going to be against Shanks. Now, real quick before we get started. Whoop, my camera's going crazy. Look at this, guys. All right, let me go like this. Okay, good enough. Before we get started, these are the matches we're going to be going over. First game will be against Shanks. Second one will be against Purple Luffy. Third will be against Blackbeard. Fourth against Blue Doffy. And fifth against Bello Betty. So we got a list of banger matchups lined up here, guys. Okay, so the volume is off. The speed is on 2x. And here we go, guys. Let's do this. So first matchup here against Shanks, like I was saying. Let's see if we're going first or second. I think we might be going second. Yeah, Shanks is going to go first here. I don't remember who won the dice roll, unfortunately. And it does not say on the left because I record these with the actual, with an overlay on. They play out Uda turn 1. I'm going to play out Shirahoshi. Shirahoshi is just a nice card. Read what it does, guys. If it gets KO'd, you gain a life. So it basically always works as a blocker unless your opponent has a way to rest it, trash it, or bottom deck it. Or make it where it cannot block. So they swing in for 5. I take both life right away, guys. I'm not scared to take life in this deck. And I even take my 3rd life right there by just playing out Enel, swinging in for 5, swinging in for 7. They're down to 4. I have a very relevant 7,000 power body on the board. That will get around a lot of early shenanigans. Like, for example, maybe not necessarily Yasop. He actually is pretty good at dealing with it because he can drop him to a 6 while he goes to a 7. But here's the idea. Against something like Lucky Roo or Ben Beckman, they have to invest more just to get rid of this card. And then when they do invest more, I can save it once per turn with my life. So I swing in for 6. He used his counter, his leader effect, because he was a 6,000 power leader. I swing for 7. He takes it. He's going to swing 7 into 6. He's going to drop the power of my Luffy. We're just going to 2k counter out of this. He can have that Luffy. That's fine. Now, here we go. We're going to keep going at the board here. I'm at 1 life, which is actually where I want to be. I'm going to go 5 at the leader. He keeps using the effect there, so now I'm going to go 7 probably into 6. Oh, no, 7 into 5. I keep it very aggressive here. Okay, and then we're going to probably play out the Katakuri, establishing a body and removing one of their bodies. That is why that card is so strong, guys. That was a very aggressive application of the card, right? Well, I guess you could consider it defensive. It depends on how you see it. You could see it as aggressively taking the board or defensively defending the board. So he swings 7 into 6 here. I'm going to use the blocker now while I still can because he might try to, make something unblockable later. Okay, -2. He's going to drop my my guy down. I'm probably just going to let it go. That's fine because I want him to attack into my life so I can keep getting cards from my life and cycling in that way. But my opponent's very smart. But now I'm on a 10-dawn turn, guys. And watch this. We go face. Okay. We go 8 into 5 here. Let's see what he does here. He takes that. We're going to play out an ace. And we're going to go 10 into 5. We're really putting on the heat now. We have large bodies on the board. If he tries to play out like the 10-cost Shanks, I will probably lose a Katakuri here. But at the same time, I still have a very relevant attacker on the board. Okay, he's going to play out Hongo. He played out an Otama. He played out a Hongo. -2, -2. My 10k body is now a 6k body for the turn. What is he going to do now? He's probably going to load up, swing into Katakuri, lower the power of my ace down to a 5. So he's going to clear my board right here, guys. He can't attack into life. But here's the thing. We're going to just do this. We're going to swing in for 10 first this time to see if he uses the 1k count, the -1 on my, my 10k body. And then we'll keep swinging in. Okay, so he uses a 3k, he uses a 2k and a 1k to get out of that. I'll go 4 into 3 because he already lowered the power of my leader with his leader effect, and he's going to 2k counter out of that to save that card. Okay, so now it's like rinse and repeat. Plays out Building Snake, use the Hongo, -3 there. He's down to a 5K already. He's going to pop that with the Newgate to make sure I can't counter out of anything or do anything crazy. And here we go. Does he want to attack into me? I could get a Frankie from this. He doesn't know what all's in my deck. I could get anything here. Okay, he's going to play out the Lucky Roo, which is very strong. We're going to go 5 into 3. He does that. Okay, seems good to me. We'll gain a life and we'll pass. So I'm basically saying here, like, okay, you're going to have to lower this guy's power down like you've been doing. Okay, he's going to attack first, though. We're going to go ahead and gain this life here. He's going to swing for 7, -1 to my guy. We'll take that. We get to draw 2, trash 1 with the new Kami event. Or it's not new, it's from EB01. And now what is he going to do? Swing in for 8. We will draw 2, trash 1 more. We're running 4 of the event and 4 Bonnies. So that's 8 draw 2, trash 1 effects. And let's see what else they have. They're going to try to go for lethal this turn. I think they are scared that they can no longer counter out. They probably have no more counters in hand. So we will take this and try to get him to attack all in with these last few cards here. Okay, so we couldn't get him to attack with the Lucky Roo, unfortunately. But that's okay. We can very easily get out of this. Okay, so that happens. And now I think it might be time to try to go for the board a little bit. Or just go for face. I like that too. We'll take that as well. All right. He uses the Lucky Roo. He does not want to go down to 0 life, which I kind of get that, I guess. But watch this, guys. So we're going to come in for 8 here. See if he wants to give me a 2K, 1K in his leader effect. Then we can do something else. But watch this. He might not have it. And now I know he doesn't have it. I am Kami. Swinging in for 10 into 5. Guys, that card is outrageously good right now. The I am Kami plus the 7 cost Enel. It's just so nice. Don't use it too greedily, because some people could say I used it a little bit too greedy this game, but dropping down to 1 life that early meant anything he dropped, like that 10 cost Shanks, I'm going to hit with a Rygo, and then I'm not afraid to just keep, gaining life over and over again, recycling life with my leader effect. Okay, now, next game. So that was against Shanks. Let's see a game here against Purple Luffy. Okay, let me go speed 2x. The volume's already off, and we got a game here against Purple Luffy. So with Purple Luffy, the most important thing, the absolute most important thing in this matchup is to remove his board as quickly as possible. He will take his own life for us. So we're actually going to aggressively attack into him even still, but mainly prioritizing going for the board. So against like the Purple Luffy matchup, the 9 cost Yamato is not exactly incredible if they're taking their own life aggressively, which they typically do. They at least take their first 2 life very aggressively. And what I mean by that is they take it themselves so they can ramp on. And they play out, this one's an interesting version running the 3 cost Zoro. Kind of a cool idea there, so he's able to spread the board wider, faster. He left 2 Dawn up. I'm not sure what's going on there. Why not just swing for 7? I wasn't going to counter anyway. Swing for 7. He gives me a 2K, 1K. We'll play out the Shirahoshi. That's a very good card in this matchup. However, cards like Sanji that they just played can get around it very, very easily. Very unfortunate. It is what it is. Not a big deal. So they're down to 3 life. They're going to swing in for 5 here. I probably want to take this one because now what I can do is get out of a 5K attack very easily. Okay, hang on. So I got the Rygo trigger there. I went ahead and popped the 3 cost character just to clear up the board. We're going to... Okay, so this person made a play mistake. We have to pause and talk about that. So this is strictly a blunder. So swinging for 5 was fine. And watch what happens. I give him a 2K counter. I respect his attack because I have not used my leader effect yet. Now he is swinging with the Sanji. Do you guys see the Sanji? This attack is a blunder because I can't go to 0 life this turn unless I choose to lose life on purpose, which I would never do, right? So they're going to swing for 7. I haven't used my leader effect yet, so I'm absolutely going to take this no matter what because he has no more attacks coming in and I can cycle through a trigger. Something like Luffy. Now, the Luffy's not the best example here. We're going to keep that in hand, but we're going to trash a card from our hand now in order to gain the life back. We'll get rid of this I am Kami card. I don't need that right now. Okay, so here we go. Let's see what they choose to do. We're going to go 2 into 2. They're going to let that go. We're going to probably play out the Jewelry Bonnie here. We're going to add a Dawn, swing for 6, and see if we can draw some cards. He is very scared to let me draw cards here because, I already have 7 cards in hand. He doesn't want to let me draw more cards and cycle and get through the better stuff. So he's going to swing for 5. I'm going to 1K counter out. Again, this is just a play mistake at that point. So hear me out. I guess unless he has a Kaido coming in, but other than that, or the 9 cost 10K Luffy. But either way, it's still sort of a play mistake, to be honest. I think he should have just gone 5 into the Flampe and then just not even swing with the 7 cost. Because watch, I think he does play out the 9 cost 10k rush Luffy. And there he is. So now he's going to swing in here. I'll take it, go down to 0, because I can gain life next turn. So we're going to trash a card here. We actually gained a life back with a You're the One Who Should Disappear trigger. We'll take it every single time. Seems good. And here we go. So guys, I think in this situation here, we're just going to kind of go for the board. I'm at 9 Dawn now, finally. I've just now gotten to 9 Dawn. And I think we're just going to start attacking the board a little bit. Let's see what they do. Swing 5, swing 5. We're at 8 Dawn. I'm going to push Frankie back to my life, establish a larger body, and now I get to draw more cards, go through more cycles. It just becomes a very good route for me, right? Okay, they're going to swing for 7. We're going to take that. Very, very nice. They're going to swing for 7 more. We need to get out of this one to keep our life at 1. So that way we can actually pop the Zoro on the board while gaining a life with our Yamato. So again, they've made a mistake attacking into my life when I have not used my leader effect, and they have no more attacks to follow up with. So I get to freely cycle my life card. Okay? Here we go. So let's see what happens here. They're down to 2 life, guys. They're not in a good position. And right here, we're going to... So we have to do things in a specific order here. I have to do a little bit of math in my head. I'm like, wait a minute. If I want to get rid of this Zoro, I actually have to use my Yamato first. So I go 8 into that. I almost swing and mess it up. That would have been a blunder if he had taken it. We're going to pop the Zoro because that was 3 life between the 2 of us. And then I gain a life after that. Swing for 5. They have to use a Gum Gum Giant to get out of that. Swing for 5. Swing for 5. This might be a newer player, the way they're saving life so much. But hey, who knows? 5 into 4, he can have that. That card did its job, you know. And here we go. 10 into 8. We'll let it go. 7 into 5, he can have it. He plays out of Sanji. And all right. This time he learned his lesson. He did not swing in with the Luffy. Very good. Excellent. So we swing for 5. That's going through. We'll swing for 9. I don't know what I'm doing right now. I'm like, wait a minute. I think I swing for 7 here and then 13. So swing for 7, because understand, guys, pause. It could not be a Gum Gum Giant, or it could have been a Gum Gum Giant, but it doesn't matter because you have to have a card to trash in order to get the plus 4K and draw 2 cards. So swinging for 7 was actually very safe there, unless he was running a 1-cost purple event that does not require you to trash a card, something like Blast Breath or something. But hey, at that point, oh well, it is what it is. Then I'd go into the board and try to save it in that way, play out a Shirohoshi and all that good stuff. Okay, but that was a good game. Purple Luffy's very tough. Make sure you're, I guess, you know, it really depends on what you can swing into. I think I could have played that a little safer going into the board, but at the same time, he got out of it every single time that I swung into the board. So that comes down to player discretion, I guess, and probably, you know, depending on who went first and what the board state looks like and things like that. Okay, next up we have a game versus Blackbeard. Okay, volume is off, speed is on 2x, and here we go. Very nice. We have 2 Luffys in my hand on the start, so that's actually very good for us, and we have a Flampe. I should have played out the Flampe right on turn 1, I think, to do a draw 2, trash 2. But that's okay. Not a huge deal, but I do think that would have actually been a better play. And look, I'm going to end up playing it out later. It worked out fine either way. But I do think I should have played out the Flampe first. Okay, so here we go. They're going to play out the Dock Q and remove my card. And guess what? I'm not attacking that Dock Q for pretty much the rest of the game, because most of my characters are like in the 7, 8, 9, 10 cost range. I do have some smaller characters as well. In fact, I'm probably going to play out Luffy this turn. But I don't really care. I don't really care about them removing that. It's fine with me. Because that means they're going to have to play out a Laboon and do some other things and get more cards out of their hand. We're cool with that. We're fine with that. And we did see a Van Augur from their last search, so I know they have a Van Augur in their hand. They're going to play out a Laboon now as well, and then KO the card. Okay, they're going to swing for 7. We're going to very happily take this. And let's see what happens next. They're going to cycle out Liberation to draw another card. So now I know they have a Burgess and a Van Augur. I know that. So I'm swinging 5 into 5 here. Let's see if he wants to save it. Okay, he's not actually going to be able to save it though, right? So there goes the Van Augur. So I know he has a Burgess still. You try to keep track of what you see them search for, so that there's no real big surprises unless they top deck it. So I'm not going to use the Rygo trigger because I don't want to give them a card. They play out double Burgess here. And all right, he's going to use Black Hole now for the first time, where I can't use any kind of special effect to gain life. And that's fine. So here we go. We are going to have to start getting a little bit aggressive here. I think we're going to have to dump down another Enel. Okay, swing in for 7. This is going through. Swing in for 7 more. That one's going through. He does a top search. And here we go. Play out this Enel. Swing for 7 more. Okay, goes through. He's down to 1 life. And that's basically, it's pretty much right where we want him, right? So he's going to play out the Marshall D Teach, locking down one of my Enels and locking down my leader. So remember, guys, now I cannot use my leader's effect. Going for the 7 cost guy there is a mistake. I'm not letting you have that. He should have gone for life. That was a blunder, guys. Let's be completely clear. That was a strict blunder because he could have tried to at least try to, even win the game potentially. But that's okay. We do have a Rygo in hand. He has not turned off my leader effect for the turn. I'm going to swing for 5 and see what he does here. Okay, he should just give me a counter here. He should just give me a 1K. Very good. Okay, like I think that was the right call. I think that was very smart. Okay, now I have to do things a little bit differently. I could push a Burgess back to his life. That is one option that I have. I could use Rygo to pop the Teach, which I think is the right call. Yep, we'll just pop the Teach here. And now we're going to load up for 4 and swing 11 into 8. Let's see if he has double 2K counter. He does not. Okay, well now it's a game. Now it's a game again. And again, okay, so now he can't go for lethal like before because he only has a 5K and a 9K attack. That's not going through. Right here, I should consider just saving the card by letting it get KO'd and just losing my life, even though I won't get it back. I should have definitely considered saving the card because he can't go for lethal, guys. I can just 1K counter out of it easily. So that was a mistake in my opinion, but I don't know if it will actually matter right here. Okay, so right here, I think we're going to just bash into the Burgess. He would have to have double 2K counter to get out of this with a Marshall D Teach. He can't. So now, how many times is he going to be able to chain these Marshall D Teaches together? Because that's what it's going to come down to now, because now my leader effect is turned on again. If he attacks in now, I get to get out of 1 attack for free. Guys, these Enels, these 7 cost Enels go a long way in this matchup. Swinging for 5, I should respect this, but at the same time, it's like, okay, I dare you're not going to swing with your Marshall D Teach, are you? You know what I mean? It's like, is he really going to swing with Teach? But it's like maybe he's going to load up the Doc Qs, which I think he does, by the way. Sorry to spoil it, but I think he's going to load up the Doc Q. Okay, so here we go. Let's see what happens. I think we just give him a 1K here. Sure. And like I was saying, load up 5 there. Okay, seems good. I think we should take this one because he does have one more Doc Q attack that he can do this turn. We'll take it, and then we'll trash a card from our hand to refill. And now he's going to swing in for 5. Of course, we have to counter out of this or he's coming in for 12. And, well, that's pretty much game, right, guys? I mean, like, we have the answers we need in our hand. I think we should just go swing 7, swing 9, swing 11. I think that's what we can do. Or no, to be 6 first. Let's see what that is. I think I should have done 7. I think that was safer. But hey, not a big deal. Now we'll swing in for 7. We'll play out a Shirahoshi. Yep, and then, well, no, I don't know what's... Oh, swing for 7 first. So he takes that. Play out Shirahoshi. Your turn. Now we pretty much have him. Now we've got the game locked down. A 10 cost Blackbeard will not help him here. So that's what he plays out. So that means he can turn off my Shirahoshi's effect now, which he did not choose to do. So we're just going to block. So that was a mistake. It didn't matter, though. Actually, it did matter. It actually did matter because I don't have a counter in my hand. He could have won that if he had done that a little bit better, but he didn't want me to be able to attack with an L. And what are the odds I didn't have a 1K counter in hand? It was like the smarter play, quote-unquote, but I think he should have definitely done it the other way. Okay, so swing 7, swing 7, swing 7, swing 9. Okay. Or swing 7, swing 7, swing 11, excuse me, because I couldn't attack with the other Enel. So I'm sure it would be very annoying to him if he saw my hand at the end there, because, guys, this is what I had. I drew the 0 cost for the turn. If he did lock down my blocker, he could have gone for game there. He could have gone for game. But at the same time, he was trying to do a tricky play. This is what he was trying to do. So he was swinging for 5, right? Let's go back. So right here, he was swinging for 5. Let me, oh, that's too far back. Right here. He plays out the Teach. He swings for 5 first. He was probably expecting me to do like a 1K counter here, and then he could turn off my block. Well, no, he already did the effect. I'm not sure. He just really didn't want that card to be able to attack. He didn't want to risk me not having a 1K, And hey, sometimes you got to take the risk. I wouldn't have done the risk either, by the way. I would have probably done it the exact same way this guy did. But hey, we had what we needed in the end. Ended up working out all right. Let's see what my last life was, just out of curiosity. It was a... Let's see. And it was a 10 cost ace. The only thing that could have saved me there was like a beige or a 0 cost. You're the one who should disappear. Really good game. That was a fun one. Very tough matchup. I'm not saying it's easier or anything. That this is obviously a very tough matchup, but the 7 cost Enels, I think, are your best bet with the 4 cost Kami event. Okay, now we got a game versus Blue Doffy. Now, this matchup, I feel like, is pretty decent for Enel. I'm not saying a good Doffy player can't win. Of course they can, but man, I'm pretty confident with this matchup. And we don't ever have to attack their life, but I think we can attack it down to 4. So what was that they revealed? We did just see what they revealed. They revealed a 10 cost Kaido, okay? Not too big of a deal. That's a long way away. But they did whiff a early search. We'll take it. We'll take any help we can get. We're going to draw some cards here. Not the best option against Doffy because they do have the 4 cost Charlotte Pudding. Going to play this out, and we're going to pop cards here. Now, our hand is not really insane, by the way. It's pretty good, but it's not insane. They're going to swing for 7, cheating out the Weevil, and here we go. They play out another one. They're keeping their hand size very healthy. We're going to swing in for 5. They're going to give me a 2K. Going to play out the 8 cost Katakuri, pushing a card out of our way, a card with no counter. That's a 6K. Seems good. Now they're going to play out a Jinbei. They're going to return a card back to hand. Now we have to trash a card, or bottom deck it, I guess is how I should say it. Play out another one, making us get rid of cards. Very strong effect there. But probably not the most optimal play, though, either. Okay, we'll swing in for 5, because we have plenty of time to get back in this game. We'll swing for 9, because I'm going to use 9 Dong this turn. We'll play out the Yamato. We'll pop the Edward Weevil. We'll gain a life, and your turn. This is where it gets really ugly for our watch this. Big combo turn here, guys. Big combo turn. I'm going to pause and talk about it. This is why, this is the point where Enel becomes very strong into Doffy, where you go pretty wide. I've got a good blocker. Do you want to use 7 Dawn for Gravity Blade to get rid of a 2 cost 0K blocker? They might have to, but everything else on my board is going to be an 8, a 9, and a 10. And watch this, guys. Okay, I want to use Raigo or Kingdom Come on that 10 cost Kaido. But I don't really like that because what's going to happen? I'll lose a life. Well, we have a Flampe in our hand. So watch what happens here, guys. I'm gonna do all my attacks first. I think it's going to be swing 7, swing 9, swing 9. We don't have any more Yamatos in our hand, so we don't have to worry about their life anymore. We'll swing in for 9, swing in for 9. They're going to take both. Then we're going to play out the Flampe. Whoops, almost messed up. We'll draw a card. Very nice. And then we will pop the Kaido. Okay. So that was a pretty devastating hit to our opponent. They used all last turn to get that, and they still lost 2 life after countering out of 1 attack. And we have an 8K, a 9, and a 9K on the board. Our hand is completely full. They're going to have to hit us with a pudding. And this is one thing I will say, if you're a Doffy player, pudding is so important, guys. It's actually crazy. So I think I might block here. I'm considering blocking with Shirahoshi, but I'd rather just counter with the Shirahoshi in hand in case he does have pudding in hand. Okay, priority always goes to the board, guys. We're always going to go for the board here first. They give me a 1K. We'll go 8 into 5. Let's see what they do here. They give me a 2K, 2K. Sure, we'll take that. Go 9 into 5. Okay, well, I mean, I don't know if this guy thinks he was saving this card or not, but it's not going to happen. Like, he did save that card, to be fair, but we got rid of a Boa. He hits me with a pudding. We get another 10 cost in. We had 3 at our last hand, so we were a little bit bricked up, to be honest. So they attack in. I'm saying, hey, I dare you. Go all in, dude. Go all in. Okay, right here, we'll see what kind of trigger we get. It's a beige. Seems good. Now your leader's going to be shut down for the turn. If we choose to... Oh, we didn't even choose to do it, by the way. So they just leave. So then they just randomly leave. The game's over, by the way. There's no way to get out of it. Because now that they fully committed like this, I'm going to get out of all of these other attacks. They're going to turn their entire board sideways to try and win this game. I'm going to get out of every single attack. It'll be swing 6 and 6 at the end, or 5 and 7. I'm getting out of either combination. And then I'm going to go every single card into their board while gaining a life with the 10 cost. So the game is in lockdown. It's completely over now. And those Gravity Blade Raging Tigers in their hand are dead cards. Those are doing nothing for them. If you have to invest 7 Dawn into removing my 2-cost blocker, I'm feeling okay about that that transaction there. That's going to be fine with me, because then you lose 7 Dawn to attack with. What would have been like an 8k and a 9k attack is now just like nothing. So yeah, that's something to take into consideration. Now, one more game. We got a game versus Bello Betty. Okay, Bello Betty. This leader has been on the rise lately, guys. I've seen a lot of good Bello Betty results, and it's just a strong deck. It always kind of was, but now it finally has some decent support to go with it. So they're going to swing it for 5. We're going to very gladly take this, even though they have triggers that benefit from us being at lower life, like with Karasu, all the new OP09 Revo cards. They want us to be at 5 life combined. And look at that. They get Cracker from the trigger. Seems pretty good. We're going to play out Shirahoshi. This is a very dependable blocker against this matchup. I will pretty much always be able to either gain a life or get a block with it. We'll take it. Swing for 9. It does not have double attack because we have the same life. He's going to swing for 7. We're going to take it. Beautiful. We get a Monkey D. Luffy trigger. We take that. We're going to use the we're going to pop it and then use the leader effect to gain a life. That's another nice thing. Let's pause for a second and talk about this. Enel, the 7-cost Enel, is a great card to pitch in this deck to trash for your leader's effect because of the 4-cost event down in our hand. We can just bring it back for the trash on the cheap. So we're getting full value from the card. Very, very well made deck. Like I said, and I copy this from some list from the East. Okay, so we're going to go for the board now. So now we get to just go for the board and have a little bit of fun here. It looks like we're going to play out the Enel and just pass, because I don't feel like they can get through with what I have right here. I have a lot of counter power in hand. I have 1 life. I have a blocker. If he KOs my blocker, guess what? And I think he does. I just got to gain a life. We're going to take that. Oh, look, another Shirahoshi. Seems good. Okay, 7 into 5. You see where this is going, guys. It gets so disastrous for my opponent here. We will push a card back to their life. Okay, and we'll swing for 5. Actually, we'll just pass. They're going to play out Dragon. I just have to get out of 1 attack, and I'm completely fine because I can gain a life next turn. They're going to swing for 6, and then it's going to be 7. It's going to be 6, 7, 12. So we have to get out of the 6k attack here, and then watch this. They're like, okay, well, if that's the case, there's no point in swinging, which they're right. However, against Enel, you don't just get to, you don't ever get to chill. There's 0 time to chill. So watch this, guys. We are going to swing in a little bit first. We'll swing 7, we'll swing 7, and we'll swing 9, I think. Okay, you can have the Kuma. We're going to play this out, popping that card. We'll play out the Shirahoshi, and your turn. This is basically a checkmate scenario. They're going to play out a Nico Robin. It has no effect. And right there, I had a mistake where I accidentally double pressed my draw card for the turn, and it ended my turn. And the guy was a good sport about it. He passed it back. I don't even know if it would have mattered if he had not passed it back, because look at this, guys. I have the blocker. I basically have 2 life. So 3 attacks are going to be nullified completely. And look at my hand, guys. I have a 2k, 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 double 0 cost 3k. I was not scared at all of losing right there, but at the same time, this guy was a good sport about it. He gave me the turn back. So right here, I basically give him the turn back by just playing out the 1 card that I was trying to play out and passing. So that way it's like, hey, it's your turn. I don't even attack him. I could have gone for lethal this turn. Well, not lethal. Well, I guess technically I could have gone for lethal. Well, no, because he had the blocker in the end. I could have knocked all of his life down, but you guys get the point. I was trying to be respectful and send it back to him. Okay, so now he's going to go for the lethal here. We're going to 2k out of that. He plays out another Nico Robin. He's getting 2Ks out of my hand. But right here, it looks like we are going to finally go for the lethal. We're going to go for 7. We're going to go for... Oh, let's see if he gets any triggers. Swing for 8. He gets the blocker. We're going to swing for 9. We could just load everything on Shirahoshi, but we're going to swing for 10 this way while keeping the blocker up, just in case. He had 2 Dawn up. What if he had double Rad Beam? Who knows, right? I don't think they run that, but you guys get the point. That was probably the safer play. By the way, look at what my last life would have been anyway. Not the... well, that card's good too, the I am Kami, because that's a draw 2 trash one, but that wouldn't have been there if he'd gone for lethal last turn. It would have been a Jory Bonnie to draw 2 trash 1. So even more counter power coming my way. Again, I appreciate that guy for doing that. So, kudos to that guy for sending the turn back when I had accidentally, skipped a turn. But really good stuff there. That was a good game. And once you get to this point in the game with Enel, it's like a lockdown situation where it's like, okay, well, now I pretty much have full control, and there's almost nothing they can do as long as I keep filling out the board with these big, big characters. So awesome. Good game. That was a fun one. Really good game there. So that's Enel, guys. Enel's, we're done with that one. Let me bring up the list one more time. This is the list I was running. I don't remember exactly where I got it from, but it was some deck from the East, I believe, and I may or may not have made a few revisions here and there. Because I feel like they were running like 2 Shirahoshis, the 5 cost or something like that. I can't remember. Whatever the case is, this is the list I recommend. This is what we were playing in today's games. The list feels very strong. I still don't think it has like a great matchup into Blackbeard, but I think it's still very doable with this list. And in fact, if you just don't attack Blackbeard at all, if you go for a more starve strategy, then the list is probably even better. Like, just take all the life they want to hit you with, and then just start popping them with, Yamatos. If they start hitting you in life, you can start hitting them with the Monkey D. Luffys. You have these rush cards that have resilience from being KO'd. This card says if this character were to be removed from the field, you may trash the top card of your life instead, and then this card does not get removed, unless there's a Monkey D. Luffy on the field. Make sure to remember that, guys, if there's a Monkey D. Luffy character, not leader, but character. But yeah, that's it, guys. All right, tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. This is one of those decks that I always have fun playing. Enel, I know a lot of people can't stand Enel. I understand. I totally get it. I do. Between Beige, between the You're the One Who Should Disappear, Rygo, and all these monster drops coming down, I completely understand people not liking going against this deck, but it's still a very strong deck right now, and I think its only really brutal matchup is probably Blackbeard. I think pretty much everything else is pretty manageable. I think it's all pretty manageable. So we'll see. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. And that's it, guys. Let me go and put up the patrons page, or first the playmat page. Big shout out to everybody who supports me, guys. Whether you're liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing, whatever you're doing to help me out, I really appreciate it. Big shout out to the VV Pirates playmat supporters, guys. I hope y'all are enjoying your playmats. And then last but not least, of course, the VV Pirates patron page. Thank you guys so much for donating, trying to help me out, keeping the dream alive, all that good stuff. Thank you guys so much. All right, I'm done, guys. Please do not forget to like and subscribe if you have not already. Hope you all enjoyed, and till next time, peace.